Conversation. It's a lost art form. It keeps us connected. It builds community. I am proud to partner with Lunarium in Spokane, Washington, to provide a space to come together and talk to each other. I hope you'll join us as we explore subjects like censorship, cultural anxiety, community, and the creative fight. Welcome to our Community Roundtable. Check out our website for opportunities to come be part of the live audience. Now let's go.
Welcome to everybody who meant to show up for a podcast, and surprise to anybody else who didn't know this was happening tonight. My name is Johnny. I host a lot of podcasts in town, and this is our Community Conversation series. This is number 4, so thank you everybody for being here. This is our 4th and final summer edition. We were asked to come back this fall for more community conversations. I think these are very important. We must learn to talk to each other. I think, it had been about probably 12 years since I had seen another human. That's not true, but it felt like that. So today I want to welcome 2 very special guests who have been on before, and I wanted you to help me wrap it up. Why don't you each introduce yourselves and what your, specialty is in what we're talking about.
Sure. I am Ducky Lovelace, local drag queen, entertainer for events for people of all ages. And my partner here.
My name is Holly McGinnis. I'm a licensed independent clinical social worker and a licensed substance use disorder professional.
Nice.
So she keeps us moving in the right way. That's you will kick our ass, as I like to say, and you do so well.
Told that.
Yes, which you should. I want to say thank you to Lunarium. They have been so kind to us to let us take over every other month on a Friday to come here and have these conversations and have people come in. Like I said, the reason I did this was, I think our first one was in February of this year, and it was because I felt a little helpless. After the election, after everything that was going on, I felt I need to do something. I don't sit still well. And I thought we probably should connect to each other in community. And the most important thing about this one that we're going to talk about tonight is the evolution of the definition of community. We've talked about trauma and anxiety. That was the show Holly was on. We talked about different ways you can stand up and protest in the creative fight, which is where you were here last time. We've talked about so many things, and this is the great conclusion, which is hopefully just an extension of this conversation. So I brought these lovely people here to keep me on track, because you know me, I'm everywhere. And I'm out here being the gay Oprah or GoPro, if you will. So I am your GoPro for the day. So I want to start with, let's talk about, like, when I came over on the Santa Maria back in the day, because I'm 800 years old. There was a reason we came to this country, and the reason community was important. Community was important back then because we needed to survive. We needed each other. So we were a tight-knit community. It wasn't a nuanced community. People didn't share their feelings. But they needed like immigrants would take from different countries, would take a section over there in New York or in that area, and they would stay together. If you go to Wisconsin now, like till Milwaukee, they still have wards. Now, they call them wards. You don't have to be, like back then there are, this is the Polish ward. This is Russian immigration ward. They still call them wards, although now, of course, you can live anywhere that you want. But we needed that in order to survive. But it was surface. It was not nuanced to where you could share your feelings or where you could be really authentic. It was, how do we survive now? And Holly, I want to start with you. And why is that a good function of society, even though we have evolved? Why is that important?
Well, if you look at it anthropologically, look at our bodies, okay?
Look. That's what I'm saying.
And before I get into it, if you came over on the Santa Maria, I'm freaking Queen Isabella, okay? Because I'm older than you.
I have so much to talk to you about.
But if you look at us anthropologically, think about the animal kingdom. Would you take on an elephant? I'm thinking no. Tigers, big teeth. rhinos, their whole bodies. We don't have any of that. We're just bags of goo.
Yeah.
Except for this. And the way we ended up at the top of the food chain is community. We cannot live without each other. We've already learned that. It's called COVID. You know, think about how difficult that was. You know, we had gotten to the point where we were so separated, and then COVID hit. And we had to stay in our homes. We couldn't see the people that we loved. I know in my family, I got COVID, and it made me very sick, and I had to be hospitalized for it. And it's still, I got sick in 21. My kids couldn't come see me. I couldn't see anybody. And I was great. Hell, I was doing therapy with the nurses. But the one thing that I could not, I mean, I would cry at a drop of a hat, and I'm not going to now, was I just kept saying, I just want to see my kids. I just want to see my kids. So it's what we need as human beings. It's the only way we survive as a species.
Yeah.
And just to live in the world.
Yeah. And now for you, my lovely Ducky, I was talking about nuance. Like, I love that we can all be self-expressive right now. Do you think back then, you probably couldn't be as expressive as you are? Because like I said, there was no nuance. It was like, how do we survive? How do we keep each other safe? Do you ever think that was crazy?
Yeah, I think like historically assimilation has been seen as like a tool of safety, but it is at the expense of someone's self-expression or someone's lived truth. And I think we're living in a world like today where our individuality is a lot more celebrated, or that we are, you know, empowered to express ourselves in ways that probably, you know, have not been accepted historically. Like, you know, I would probably get burned at the stake dressed like this. In the wrong era.
Yeah, right. And honestly, that's what's so great. Like, the next stage in community that happened in our country was this idea of, then it was a community of shared causes. It was a community of shared ideals, which is where we got, you know, civil rights movement. They could come together and congeal. It's where we got the LGBT plus movement, where we could fight. It's where we became a little less nuanced and a little more together. I'm sure a lot of you come from a time when, you know, you're here with people that you love and care about and your family. This would not have necessarily gone in that first stage. But this that you have today is still something that happens. So I just because I recognize you. Oh, hey, Curter. Yeah, this is a start. Do you feel, you were here last time, do you feel like that sense of community? Do you want to come to me?
Yeah.
I love that. We'll do a little dance.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it.
I do. I love community. I feel like the way that we're able to show up for each other in the authentic ways and celebrating each other. Like, I really thrive pursuing activities like this. It fills my day and it fills my life.
I have to say that there is a whole change to your countenance from the last time, because we were all afraid. Mm-hmm. We've been afraid, probably still are. Mm-hmm. But community allows us to function in a way of still finding joy. Do you feel like you feel a little lighter today than you were, 2 months ago?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I feel better. I've got folks supporting me, showing up for some things that have made me struggle really recently. And I'm just continually being blessed by my community members.
And I think that's what gives us strength, especially now that the world is on fire.
Before they sit down, Persephone, can you share with the crowd how you build community with Wonder and Wander?
Yes, I lead nature walks.
Nice.
Yeah, I am a former park ranger.
Wow.
So I know how important connecting to nature is, to be able to connect to ourselves, then connect to the land, and then our community that is a part of the land and a part of us. So that whole thing
I
comes
love
full
that.
circle.
Also, are there levels? Because you're not going to find me on a big old 14-mile hike.
We call it life is not a race, go your own pace. So we are a slow stroll and stop about every 5 minutes to look at plants.
Oh, this is Mike. I'm joining you. I'm going
Yeah.
to join you. That's exactly right. It is. We have the luxury now of being able to find something that connects us, like what Persephone was saying. And I think that's something we must grasp, because something happened in, oh God, what was it? When did the internet happen? Like the 80s or 70s or 50s? What was it?
Ice Storm 96 was around that same time.
Really?
When we were getting it, like, yeah, we got our first library computer.
Oh.
And I think it was.
And it was like the size of this
Windows
room.
96, I think.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I think it was big because it was actually not broken up windows.
Right.
For your different.
It was crazy.
programs.
I'm not gonna. I refuse to say the word old. That's my new thing for myself. So I'm middle young, and that makes me feel maybe a little more than middle young. But that's true. That is very true. And here's the thing: the rise of technology changed everything. It was the next phase of our community. It was we could find. Remember AOL chat rooms? Anybody who? Yes, message boards. It was a way, and it did two things. I would like to say, and Holly, I know you'll have something to say about this. It was a double-edged sword. We found community, and the other side we also isolated, because we didn't have to be with that community.
Yes.
We can do it. So talk to us about how that affects the human psyche.
Well, if you don't have interaction with human beings, it really doesn't do good things for your brain. But by the same token, I'm not going to trash technology. My job is technology. I'm a telehealth provider. I live here, but I take care of patients on Whidbey Island on the west side. So you can have community in technology, but it's also really easy to be fake in technology. I mean, think about it. We didn't have catfishing back in the or mid-90s,
Maybe we did.
Yeah, we didn't call it that though. Yeah, something like that. I'm old. I know. I'm old and I don't care. I've taken my dose of fuck it all when I turned 50, and I've just stayed there.
Oh, I love that. I need that vitamin.
Yeah.
Good.
But we cannot survive without connection, and in some ways that helped us in 2019. But there's still that need to be able to touch somebody you care about, or
Well, it makes it harder to hide. It makes it harder to fake whatever we need to fake. Not that it's impossible. A lot of people who go through depression, they mask as much as they can, but it's harder to do it when I look you in the eyes and I'm in front of you and we're connecting. Did you have a comment there?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, with the way that technology has changed community, I think that it was a huge win for accessibility. And I think that in the past, people did have to still be a lot more in the closet, or they kind of had to be more careful about who they shared their personal lives with. And when the internet came around, like message boards, you could find people who had the same experiences as you, the language and the understanding of different LGBT identities, I think really flourished with technology.
Right.
And connected you to people that weren't in your geographical area. So more specifically, I think a lot about one aspect of community is physically who we're surrounded by, but also we have more of these chosen communities now that aren't limited by physical space.
Right.
I think is really interesting, and I think will always be kind of woven into our experiences moving forward.
And for me, I was a teenage little preacher's kid who couldn't come out as gay, and I remember AOL had a chat room called M4M, male for male. My parents didn't know what the hell that meant. So it was a way that I could connect to people that I thought I was the only one, but it allowed us to do that. But something else that came, and a lot of us probably can think, the overall arch of the umbrella of how this has worked in our society is everybody, I'm sure, noticed that corporations were like, hey, technology has come up. Hey, we can reach all of this demographic. And of course, that's when pride started changing. And big corporations like Target and these places would come in and they wanted our dollars. So for a month, every year, they thought we were pretty cool. And then don't worry, as of July 1st, it was done. And so we see that even more today. Corporations have co-opted our communities, not just the queer community. That's just because that's where I come from, and so I know it and I can speak to it. But there's this, I guess, insidiousness of, listen, we're going to take the joy of connecting interests and things online, and now we're going to try to get some money out of it and make it this overall umbrella that hasn't always been good for us.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And they do that with so many different communities. If you're a woman, you know, they'll, yeah, you want to be a strong, brilliant woman, but, you know, if you've ever been a strong, I mean, Johnny knows. Johnny and I are friends too, and I got a mouth on me. And I don't really have a whole lot of problems. I mean, my kid's sitting here going, oh yeah, she got a mouth on her. But I've also been bullied for it. You know, we like strong women, but not really.
But not like that.
No, don't be that. Don't be that strong woman. Don't be a biatch.
Right.
And the funny part of that for me is my maiden name is Moody.
Nice. You should have kept it.
I know.
Right? I thought she was going to say her maiden name was Bitch. I was like,
No, but there's a part of that
Adopt
because
me.
back in the day when I went to college the first time and majored in partying, got a PhD in it, didn't serve me very well. There was a thing that started coming out, and it was Moody Bitch. And one of my closest friends bought me this giant button that I had on my armoire in my dorm room, and it just said Moody Bitch. They still call me the Moody Bitch, and I wear it proudly. You know, as Tina Fey and Amy Poehler once said when Hillary Clinton was running for president, bitches get things done.
hell yes.
You know, and I don't care if you're a guy bitch or a girl bitch. I don't give a.
We
Gender
get all the
neutral
bitches.
bitches.
Yes,
Right?
bitches are brilliant, and
When it comes to this idea of, it's a very wide variety of opinions. When it comes to this idea of corporations kind of co-opting us, especially during Pride Month, does anybody have like a strong opinion about that? Good, bad, ugly, all of it. Anyone? I can come right to you. I don't know if you know that. So someone answer me. So what do you think about, do you have an opinion? You're lovely.
I just think that everyone needs to be real, and I don't like people just jumping on the bandwagon for the sake of jumping on the bandwagon. Be who you're going to be, and that's
Yes,
really
which
all I
is
have to say.
corporations, I think, talk about hiding. I feel like corporations hide behind their business and they're like, hey, we're giving you money right now, so you should love us. And then what does a company like Target, I'm going to get so demonetized when this goes on online. But look at someone, Target starts pulling. Remember where they did these great things where they had all this Pride merchandise and then someone was boo-hooing and they cowed right away? And that happens to us. And now that our political environment is what it is, they pull even more because they feel like the power has moved. So you're right, there's no authenticity, it's not about the people anymore. And that's the next thing. One of the things that I notice is that that we don't talk about is through the beginning, all the way through now, there has been this quiet little political whisper because it all works really well for them. In the end, the politics of it all always has a way. I love the word insidious. I hate the movie, it scares me to death. But I love the word because that's what it is. I'm all about, fiercely independent. I love being an independent artist. I love all these things, but there's no nuance to it. And so what you have is this one idea, forgetting community because it's all about the one. And listen, I want to be all about my art, but we forget. But that works politically. If I can divide you, I can conquer you. If I can divide you and make you go, remember, independence is everything, then that just serves the higher political movement.
Yeah. I will say, like, when you mentioned, you know, organizations co-opting, or even on like a more local level, you know, businesses just really quickly distancing themselves from like the queer community when things become inconvenient, when they need a scapegoat. I think that is what really puts the pressure on us to return to community and to really like find the businesses or the individuals that we are, you know, with geographically, and building those bonds and finding ways to overcome some of the differences.
Exactly. Well,
yeah.
I think back to COVID, I think it was, I mean, it really did take us back 5 steps. You know what I mean? Because then you get used to not having to be with people. And then you're like, that was kind of nice, because some people annoy me. You know what I mean? And so we forget. I had a best friend for years and years and years. Russian background, parents were immigrants, and he used to yell at me and fight with me all the time and say, because they're from Russia, it's all about family. They've got it. Family lives together. And so the fact that I don't talk to my family a whole lot because they disowned me after I came out. But he would yell at me and say, you think too much like an American. You think too much about it's all about you or no one else. And what I realized is a little bit true. I'm not going to lie. But it's a nuanced, because I think the answer to where we're at now is, how do we continue to celebrate who we are, but also embrace others to be part of our circle? Holly, what do you run into with that kind of stuff?
You know, it's hard. You know, my personal journey, I mean, I grew up in a small town in Indiana, famous for caskets.
Ooh.
And hospital beds. But I had never been around anybody I knew that was gay. You just didn't do that. And it took me until 2023 to realize I was gay.
I didn't even know.
Yeah, I know.
Congratulations, girl.
Yeah. I came out. Johnny was one of the first people I came out to.
Yeah, we sat right at that table.
Yep, we did. And it was the first people I came out to were my kids. But we don't like different. We say we do, but we don't. And we even do it, and this is going to be a little unpopular, I know, but because I feel it. You meet somebody, and this happens to me. And I've worked with military active duty members before, and it's always interesting when they come in and they are just beating that Trump drum, you know, MAGA this and MAGA that, or you find out somebody is conservative. Immediately, I'm like,
what does that mean?
We're on defense right away.
I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
Get away from me. You're dangerous. Not just because I'm a lesbian, it's because I'm a woman. I'm a single woman. I'm a single mom. And, you know, if you're not, let's face it, if you're not a white, straight man in this country, it can get a little...
And can we just say, look how well we've done in this country with them. Not that great.
Right.
Not amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I apologize all the time for being a white guy. Because I'm like, no, they suck. Like,
And
I'm
we
here.
don't understand it. We
Yeah.
don't understand white privilege unless we have somebody
Right.
in our
And
life.
it's so important
who's
to...
different.
Yeah. Someone asked me once, I did a radio show years ago, and it was 4 gay men of different ages, and it just kind of got put together, and we got so many letters, and I said, all I can do from the privilege that we all have privilege at some point, somewhere in our lives, all I can do is recognize that I have privilege and do everything I can to step beyond it. Do everything I can to talk to people who are different than me so that I can do something, because I can't change this. Trust me, I have tried for years. But I can change that. I will keep my mind open and I will meet people. And yes, I've had friends who are conservative, but I'm with you. I had an experience recently. where I was in a business and a lovely lady kept saying she found out that I present so straight, but she this is a gay guy. This is a gay guy. And so every 5 minutes she would say, well, I'm a Christian, but I believe you have a right to. And it was when someone tells you that 25 times, I'm like, but are you okay? I don't feel like you're okay. And because of how the power is, we're back to the days, remember this, some of you from my generation, where we have to be grateful. We have to be like, thank you so much. We're back to, I need you to apologize for who you are, and I need you to recognize that I'm doing something nice for you by saying, hey, that's great that you're in my business and that you're gay. And I wanted to say to this person, I don't remember ever telling you I was gay. So, but that's where we are again. Do you guys remember ever having to apologize just for existing? I think women have had to do it forever, but being this gay guy, I had never experienced it until I came out. Does anybody relate to that?
Yeah.
You do? Hey, Kurt, you wanna come to me? This is the shortest cord I've ever worked with.
So on Friday, I had to make money. So I was my one person UBU little like rainbow bead that my kid made me necklace walking around, and went into Subway, and there is a, I don't know, queer, whatever, there's a person working the register. There's me that walks in, and this lady with her grandchild thinks that she needs to comment and say, oh, well, there's a lot of gay people at the park. Did you go celebrate Pride? Is that, everybody's so dressed up? And I was like looking at my necklace like, why are you bringing me into conversation? I don't want any part of your transaction. But yeah, and so she just clogged up. Like the coworker was trying to rush. Can you get that rung up? Can you get that rung up?
Yeah.
And this lady was, well, it's okay. I just don't think that, it needs to be like, what. We don't celebrate Pride like straight Pride, and I go, my interjection.
Not because your life is not being threatened on a daily basis.
I had no time for her, so I said, they do have straight Pride flags. I've considered getting one, just to support y'all. And she was like, and she went back to, and granted, the young person working the counter did amazing, trying to educate this gal. I had no patience for her. I rolled my eyes at her and glared at her when I walked past her again because she wasted my time.
Yeah.
She took up my time to tell me that she supports me, but she did go to a gay wedding before, and it made me.
She's so woke.
Yeah, she went to one, and I think it changed her. I did want to tell her that I've gone to a few straight weddings too, and they're really interesting. But it's just a waste of time when it's like I don't need to know your opinion. It's none of my business.
It is a hard.
She needs work done on herself.
Exactly, and it's a hard thing. I remember telling someone once that there is straight pride. It's called Mardi Gras. So just go there, and it's okay. You can have that. Like I have many cisgendered heterosexual, really close friends. I love them, but why do we have to say that? Why can't it just be, oh, you're cool, I'm cool, like glad we know each other? But it isn't. And now, because in this day and age, there is so much division again, we're back to being the, you're cool thing, pat you on the head and tell you that life is good and you are allowed in this moment to exist. Comments?
Yeah, I think that what you mentioned earlier, like when things do feel so much more divisive, it's really easy to keep that wall up. And I've found, at least as someone who feels like pretty secure in my safety expressing my queerness, I used to work for Parks and Rec, Park Ops, and so I'm with, all these burly cis men in our high-vis jackets, and I'm in the truck all day, and I was kind of freaked out at first, but I was pleasantly surprised, in being able to like keep an open mind for myself.
Yeah.
towards another person, and being comfortable to like share my experience when someone had questions, or like being stuck with a guy who was maybe a little rough around the edges, but then, you know, I learned some really like wholesome things about him and his gay son, and you know, things that he wasn't just like putting out there to be like, see, I'm an ally.
Yeah.
Right? Told you, I
But
have a
then
card.
just that, like, if you are someone that feels comfortable to have those conversations and explore those topics with people, there is a possibility for it to have such a positive impact.
Yes.
And I think to like help us realize that other sense of community of like, okay, well, even though this guy is not part of my like
Right.
identity group, he is a real one.
Right.
Like, and he would stand up for me on the job, you know,
it goes
like,
both ways. Because don't you also feel, for the life of me, I still believe in humanity, even though so many things tell me otherwise. But if we interact with each other just as people, it's amazing how we can see each other. We don't, but that's what people want. Don't see each other, because then I can't control you. But the truth is, if we are authentic with other humans, we find a way to connect without the weird, you know, oh, you know, I want you to know I went to a gay wedding once. It's not about that. It's about, oh, I see you and you see me. You know what I mean? Did you have a comment, Holly?
Well, first of all, I want to say, if y'all have ever seen the straight pride flag, it's gay as fuck. It is so gay. But just, yeah, I was like, really? Could you go any more neon on that? But the interesting thing, when you're talking about someone who has to constantly say, I'm a Christian, but they're they're not trying to rationalize to you, they're trying to rationalize to themselves.
yeah.
True.
You know?
Yeah, to reconcile
Yeah.
their beliefs with the things that they're being faced with in reality.
And
And
what
like
it
not
was
everyone
was when they-
can reconcile,
Yes.
sadly.
And when they kind of like you, they start trying to make themselves okay. Turned on the charm. I don't have a lot of it, but when it's there, it's good. And so I'm talking to her, and all of a sudden, I was there for maybe 15, 20 minutes. Kurt was with me. And all of a sudden, she was laughing. We were having a good time, and that's when it began. And it's because they're like, I like this person. I need to figure out, like you said, I need to reconcile. The same thing happens to the rest of us. You know what I mean? It's a human behavior. So if we can agree that we're human, now how can we go even beyond that? I think that's where it is. There is you know me, if you've seen any of my shows, I love quotes. One of my favorite quotes is from Rumi. He was a Muslim poet from way back. And he says this quote I love, which is, outside the realm of wrongdoing and right doing lies a field. I will meet you there. And the fact is, we all have different ways to look at life. As long as you're not harming people, as long as you're not actively hating people, it's a way to go, I know we're not going to have the same views on everything. You're not going to be, and I'm glad you're not exactly like me, but I want you to know I'm committed to being human with you. I'm committed to stepping outside of these wrongdoing and right doing thoughts and say, I want to meet you there on common ground.
You know, the interesting thing about today's world, and this affects me in my job, if anybody works in the medical profession, nowadays you have to be really careful when you're charting, because if the organization you work for gets any kind of federal funding, you have to be super careful about what you put. You don't put, we used to say, because we wanted to acknowledge who the person was, we would talk about their ethnicity. We don't do that anymore. I do, because I've been doing this for a while, I do supervision, which basically means I work with other therapists who want to collaborate on a case. And one of the therapists I work with has a transgender patient, and I do a lot of transgender work. I did it for the military. And I had to show her how, and she saw a diagnosis that this patient's doctor put in. It's not the right diagnosis, but it's a safe diagnosis. It's basically, they have transgender tendencies. Because if we put gender dysphoria in there, the whole organization
get-
could be dinged for federal funding that they get.
Yeah.
It's a rural clinic. They survive on federal dollars to help take care of people. And that's wrong as far as I'm concerned. First of all, you don't need to put that in there. The only reason you would need to put gender dysphoria in a chart is because if you are taking any kind of replacement hormones, whether you're transitioning or whatever, you raise your cancer risk. So you have to be able, even, and if you're not transitioning, I mean, my favorite joke is, y'all see old pictures of Elon Musk?
He had
I try
gender.
The boy's
affirming
taking
surgery.
testosterone and had hair plugs. That boy had gender affirming care. Hate to be the bearer of bad news.
Right. And I think men don't talk about it, but as we reach a certain age, testosterone levels drop
Same for
just
us.
because
You
welcome,
have your own
that's what I mean.
menopause. I'm
Yes.
not joking.
And it's a thing, but we don't want to because we're worried about what that says about us. But the truth is, but can I tell you, the medical insurance still makes it so hard to get testosterone because they've decided. I mean, these are the things that we must be aware of. I think building community is our only way forward. First of all three of us are very loud. All three of us love what we do. I wish I could dress like you, Miss Ducky. You could. I mean, I could. It wouldn't look as good, I'm thinking, maybe. But I love that we can still be bold. In the time of this culture currently, do you ever second guess when you're out, just wondering what someone's thinking because of where we're at? Because you are so bold. When I open my mouth, I'm like, oh God, they know, a purse fell out. This is what's happening right
Well,
now.
I didn't have to ride the bus in drag today, but it is something that I have grown accustomed to doing. And I think that drag in general really helped me to overcome the fear of like criticism or judgment from others, just because like in my life growing up, that was such a struggle for me. And when you decide to don an outfit like this, like there's just no avoiding it. Like, people are gonna stare. People are gonna have their thoughts.
Inconspicuous?
And you just have to accept it. You just have to accept that person's thoughts and opinions belong to them, and that doesn't affect the person that you are. And I think that really helped me bring a little bit of empowerment into my personal life. Even just being visibly queer out of drag is, I said this at the last meeting, I think that being visibly queer is an act of revolution. That is something that you do just to exist, and just to show other people that you exist and that they can exist on the other side of those hardships and live like a happy, fulfilling life as a LGBT person.
I mean, as Holly taught us, as long as we take our fuck it all,
yeah.
we are going
Yes!
to be coming to markets near you. Maybe not
Yeah.
Target, but for all other markets coming.
Yeah.
I specialize in teaching how to take your fuck it off.
If anybody here, when you're out and about, the old phrase used to be, do you check yourself ever? Do you ever have that moment where you're like, can I be this? Can I be? Does anybody have those moments still, especially in our current state of aware?
I never did before, but I do now because I had something happen to me at the Y. I go work out at the Y. I love the pool. I'm a water sign. I'm a Cancer. Just had a birthday. So, but there was a guy, and I do a lot of water aerobics because my joints suck. And there was a guy there, big, burly, chubby dude, and it was after, and I remember because he was popping off about an airline accident that happened near Washington, D.C., where a military helicopter crashed into a passenger jet. And so he's talking about how Biden did this, and this is Biden's fault. And all of these older people are like trying to tell him to shut up. And I try so hard to keep my mouth shut, but if you trigger the inner bitch, you better be ready. I basically told him that Biden didn't have anything to do with it. Neither did gay people. Let me guess, you're going to hate me because I'm a lesbian? Oh, and I have a trans child too. Is that add to your list? And all of these older people came to me afterwards and thanked me for doing that. But I can't wear my glasses in the pool and I don't have contacts. And I had my towel and my locker key and my glasses on top of a tower of cubbies. I went back to it and my key was gone. So I had to go have the lock cut off. Oh, dumb. Can I say MF?
We don't have FCC, so you say what
Okay.
you want.
That dumb motherfucker didn't realize I had another lock in my friggin' glove box.
Right.
But I went to, because I had to go get an employee to cut my lock off to be able to get into my stuff. And I said, this is what happened. And I cannot speak the praises of the Y enough. They apologized all over themselves for that. I couldn't prove he did it because, like I said, I can't see past my nose without my glasses. But that was the first time I went, whoa, somebody went after me.
Yeah.
And that made me uncomfortable. But by the same token, because I do have a trans child, I go out and I see somebody looking funny at my family and I'm like, come on, please come at me. Come on. You will find out what a mother bear looks like. You will find the fuck out.
Yeah.
Mess with my kid and I will show you exactly what that looks like.
I feel like you're so shy, though.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm the one, and my kids know this. They've known this their whole lives. You know, I don't think anybody should have kids if they don't want to. That's not a responsibility you should take on if you're not willing to. I wanted to be a mom more than anything. That was my first job. It was my best job. And one of my favorite things to do as a mom was embarrass my kids. And one of my kids is here. Oh yeah, you were there. I'm getting to it.
Yeah.
You know, my kids went to the community school. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. It's just across the way over here. Wonderful school. If you have a child that's going into high school who feels different, go there. Their principal, you have to apply for it. Their principal will kick you out if you bully somebody. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So my kids went to that high school. Both of my kids did. And they were on a robotics team. And I'm loud. So my son's over here, yep. They always knew where I was in the stands because I would yell myself hoarse. Well, now fast forward to the Pride Parade. And my oldest had told me they were going to be part of the Thespians in Spokane group. And of course, they're at the front carrying the banner. I'm like, I'm going to embarrass them. And Ben's like, I know. And my oldest knew it too because my oldest didn't want me to embarrass him. They wouldn't have told me that he's going to be in it. Mm-hmm. So I stood up in Mill Street. And I didn't care who heard. I didn't care what they said. I was in this rainbow dress with my leggings on. Yes. My little son.
Yeah.
Yes. And I stood up and put my hands on either side of my mouth and I went, say it loud, say it proud. That's my kid.
Yeah.
And then I said their name. Mm-hmm. And you could see my kid just grinning from ear to ear. And so when I caught up with my kid later, I said, you knew I was going to do that, right?
Yeah. It feels good to be seen. That's what it is. I have to say, in the last 3 and now this 4th installment of these community conversations, I am so happy that people show up because it's when we talk to each other that gives us courage to just be who we are. We don't need anything else. And I want to say, people have asked from the beginning of these in February, what do? I don't know what to do. And because it's quote time, everybody ready? We got a new one. Martin Luther King Jr. said, you don't have to see the whole staircase, just take the first step. And that's what we do. We don't have to know how we continue to survive as it gets harder right now. All we have to know is that together, as long as we keep showing up, as long as we keep talking to each other, as long as we find ways to celebrate ourselves and each other, we are going to find the next step. It is in isolation. It is in being so fiercely independent that what that means is you're hiding. That's where things start to break down. That's why I wanted to end the 4 installments on this idea of the evolution of community and how can we still see each other? How can we have these moments? I'll ask for closing comments from each of you.
Yeah, I also had a little quote, but I think it's probably from someone on like TikTok. I can't actually I can't properly credit it, but you know, I've heard the phrase like the cost of community is annoyance, or the cost of connection is vulnerability.
Yes.
And I think that within community, like, we do have to give a certain amount of trust to people. We do have to, like, open ourselves up and be a little vulnerable in order to authentically connect with others, and to find those places that maybe we don't agree, we have different viewpoints, but there are a lot of common ideals. And I think, like, Holly and I, because I actually didn't know you were LMSW, licensed social worker. Social workers live by a code of ethics, and like, one of the things that's always been so important to me is treating everyone with dignity and respect.
Absolutely.
Just recognizing the dignity and worth of all people,
Yes.
and going from there.
What's that old, that quote, it's not an old quote, it's a religious thing in India where the light in me recognizes and respects the light in you. Namaste. And if we could live like that, how much better would the world be? It's getting scary out there. It's going to get scarier. Holly, do you have a closing comment?
There's a difference between being independent and being individual.
Yes.
Your independence comes from your inner self-worth. Be good with who you are. All of you, I'm going to give you an exercise that I give a lot of my patients who struggle with taking compliments. Oh my gosh, I can figure out real quick where my patient's self-esteem and self-worth is if they can't take compliments. I want you to take compliments with nothing but a thank you. Don't be afraid to be who you are. If somebody calls you intimidating, do you know how many times I've heard that? That's a them problem, not a you problem.
You just say thank you.
You say, yeah. But when I was told that the first time, it's actually my best friend that told me that when I still thought I liked guys. She said I intimidated men. And I carried that forward. And I do. My son's like, yes, you do.
Good.
Huh?
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm not an intimidating person. People can get scared to approach me, but as a therapist, no. That's not what I do. I will help you if you want the help, but I'm not working any harder than you do, and Ducky's right. I live by that code of ethics in my personal life and my professional life. So,
and that's what it's about, is to continue to see each other, continue to come and do things together, continue to recognize each other. Now I'm going to close with another quote. Shocking? Are we shocked? I know. You don't know how many quotes I have on, so I have kept myself in check here. But I want to say to each of you, Coretta Scott King said, the greatness of a community is most accurately measured by the compassionate actions of its members. We cannot forget our compassion. When it goes, things get bad. So say hi to someone you don't know. Just connect to them and just let it be. You don't even have to stay there and be like, I think we're supposed to talk now, so I'm just going to... No, just say hi to someone you don't know. Create a community in that moment, because you're going to be out there and maybe you'll see out in the wild. If you see me in the wild, be sure to come up and just say hi. I'm a big bear, but I'm really sweet. So really, I try. I want to thank both my guests. Ducky Lovelace, any show you see that she's going to be at, I would highly recommend going.
Thank you so much. Can I plug some things?
Yes, please.
Excellent. So, thank you all again for coming and being a part of the conversation today. I really think that showing up to these things and people sharing their own experiences and giving input is really important. So, in the vein of something similar to this, on the 23rd of July, we're going to have a 2S LGBTQIA community debrief event. So that's going to be happening from 6 to 8 o'clock at 9, free taco bar. And basically, the intent of that event is to kind of explain to the community what the current events legally are for our community, our group in Washington and Spokane area specifically, So there will be sort of an informal panel, and with that, one of the guests is Sarah Harmon from the Lincoln LGBTQ Rights Law Clinic, and Erin Ferrier from the Disability Action Center will both be there. So they will be able to give some really grounding information, I think, to just talk about the laws and how those things are affecting us here in Washington.
I love that. That's very good.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot going on yet, but I have something coming up. Beginning in September, Johnny and Kurt talked me into doing a podcast all by myself.
All by your lonesome.
So the
What's it
podcast,
called?
it's going to be called The Hot Seat. As you noticed, red is my thing.
Yes.
And so it's a no bullshit show because I don't bullshit in therapy and I don't bullshit in I can be tactful, but I don't bullshit.
Yes.
You know, one of my favorite things to do is look at somebody and say, I hope you have the day that you richly deserve. When they're being totally...
That could go either way.
Exactly.
Yes, yes.
And so we're going to have guests. We're going to do, I'll do things by myself, which is like, oh, crap. But we'll have guests. We'll talk about a variety of things because mental health isn't just depression, anxiety, bipolar, all of those things. Our mental health is a constant, and we have to take care of it. So we will laugh, we will cry, we will make jokes, we will talk about serious stuff, and I hope that you'll tune in and let us know how we're doing.
And so thank you to everyone here. Kurt and I run a production company called Aru, A-R-U Productions. You can go to arucreative.com, and that's where you'll find links to Holly's brand new show coming this September. There's also a lot of other shows that we are producing, and I'm so excited. We even got her a nice mug that says, no bullshit. So it's going to go really well for her. But yes. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. Yes.
Can I do another plug?
Yes, plug away.
I want to let everyone know that here at Lunarium, Lich Wormwood, aka T.S. Lovelace, hosts Tea and Kiki one Friday a month, and that is to invite people in to learn about drag, to come to a communal area to craft, to just ask questions and explore that art together. There was recently an Inlander article all about it, so check that out. And tomorrow, for all of my drag fans in the audience, we are having a Queerdos drag show at Nito Burrito.
Oh, cool.
The theme is info whores. So for all my people that love political satire and you like a little catharsis, that is going to be the show for you. Nito, doors at 7:30. First set show starts at 8.
Love it. Now you can go to our website
$10.
on the community conversations page. I'll put all of the things that both of you have talked about. So if you want to go there, do it. We're going to close with one final quote. This has been, everybody probably knows it, but Margaret Mead once said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has." So thank you all for coming out and being part of this. Look for this to be released soon on the website as well, so you can see it. Thank you.